तेन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य तोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्तेषु भिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजता दधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, chapter number 19. And we start from verse number 6. So this is Sukadeva Goswami explaining the process of this one vrata which Diti had performed. The king, after hearing the story of Diti and how the Marutas were born, she wanted to know how the vrata actually is performed, what is the process. So Sri Sukadeva starts explaining. He said that it has to start from the Pratipada of Mrigashira, that is the month which comes after Kartik. And then one should hear the story of the birth of Marutas and start. And then there will be prayers, because said that Lord has to be worshipped in the morning before eating. So we read these two verses which describe the prayer to the Lord. Now in verse number 6, this is prayer to Lakshmi, the consort of the Lord. Vishnu Patni Mahamaye Mahapurusha Lakshane Priyetha me Mahabhage Lokamatar Namastute. So just a prayer that, O Vishnu Patni, wife of Vishnu, Mahamaya, who is the personification of Lord's energy called Mahamaya, and Mahapurusha Lakshmi has all the symptoms Mahapurusha. Priye tha me Mahabhage, and Mahabhaga means highly fortunate. Says, be pleased with me, O Mother of the Universe, I bow down to you. So this is prayer to her. So Itham Bhagavantam Pranamya Lakshmim Pranamed Ityaha Vishnu Patniti. So after bowing down to the Lord, then one should bow down to Lakshmi Devi. Mahamaye Maya Shabdasya Sakti Vachitva. The word Maya has many meanings. One of the meanings is Shakti, energy, and Parakya Shakti Rupe. So energy here is the superior energy, the transcendental energy. Ateva Mahapurushasya Vishnu Reva Lakshanani Nirpekshaptvadini Yasya. And she is called Mahapurusha Lakshana. She has the characteristics like Vishnu. So which were described in the previous verse, that he is Nirpeksha, he is satisfied, Purna Kama. So the same qualities are in Lakshmi also. Then in the next verse,
there's a couple of similarities between this verse and the one that the gopis say to Katyayani.
Katyayani Mahamaya.
So Mahamaya is there also.
So it says Om Namo. So this is the mantra which has to be chanted. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahapurushaya Mahanubhavaya Mahavibhuti Pataye Saha Mahavibhuti Bhira Balim Upaharani. So this is the mantra which has to be chanted, because when you worship the Lord, all the offerings, they are done with the recitation of a mantra. Whatever is the deity, then there is a corresponding mantra which has to be recited. So in this he says that Balim Upaharami means I offer whatever offering one is making, then you have to chant this. So Om Namo Bhagavate. Bhagavate is Supreme Bhagavan. Mahapurusha, Supreme Person, Mahanubhav, who has supreme knowledge or supreme prowess. And Mahavibhuti Pate, who is the Lord of all Vibhutis. So he says that Saha Mahavibhuti, along with all the opulences of Vibhutis, Balim Upaharani, I offer Bali. Anena Aharaha Mantrena Vishnora Avahan Argha Padya Upasparshana Snana Vasa Upavita Vibhushana Gandha Pushpa Dhupa Deepa Upaharadi Upcharanscha Samahita Upaharet. So by using this mantra, one has to do the worship. And worships, sometimes it is called Shodasopchar, or there are 16 items which are offered to the Lord. Most of them are stated here. So first there is Avahan, or calling the Lord. So of course in our Vaishnava marg we don't do this Avahan and Visarjan. This is Marthavidhi. The Lord is invited and then he is sent away. So he is like a guest, you invite him for that period for which you have to do puja, and then he is asked to leave. So in Vaishnava process we don't do that. Lord is always with us. So there is no question of inviting and then sending him away. That's why those of you who live in India, you know that when it is Durga Puja or Ganesh Puja, then they have all these deities, they worship them for whatever. Durga Puja is 9 days, Ganesh Puja And after that they take the deity and then they submerge them in the ocean or some lake or river. So that is because it is the process. You aham and then visarjan. Visarjan basically means sending him away and then putting inside the water. So that is one way of worshipping. So that's why the first one is called Vishnu Raham, Avahana. And then Arghya, Padya, Pasparsha. So these are the various things which are given to the Lord. You give water for the feet. When someone comes to your house and to wash the feet in their warm country, so sweating. In the cold country, nobody wants to wash the feet. And then you give arghya for the hands, and then achaman for the mouth. So these are standard way. Padya, arghya, and achmaniya. And then you start the worship. So in the olden days, this is how people were received. And then you give bath, then cloth, then upavita, sacred thread, then ornaments, some decoration, and then gandha, chandan, or some fragrant, what you call
Perfume.
perfumes. So nice perfume, sandalwood, lavender.
Patchouli. The essential oils.
Yes. So they are very nice because
Itter.
one of the characteristic of higher beings is their attachment, their attraction to fragrance. So that's why in puja you know that things are very fragrant. Agarbatti is there, and we have camphor, we have lamp, and all these essential oils, flowers, and it's also said flowers should be fragrant flowers, not without any fragrance. So higher beings, they are very much attracted to fragrance. And that's why they like cleanliness, things which are not smelling bad. This is also the reason that we don't offer onion, garlic, because they hate the smell of these things. Or smoking. Anywhere where there is smoking going on, you cannot expect any deva to appear there. Because they can smell it from 1 kilometer. So these are the reasons sometimes when there are restrictions in certain items not to be offered to a particular deity, or a particular type of food not to be offered, means that particular deity does not like the smell of it. Because there are persons. God is a person and has his liking, his taste, what he likes to eat. So now there is a movement called Krishna West. So they have to be careful what God likes, because it's not a question of East or West, you have to know what he likes.
The American God likes French fries.
Unfortunately, God is neither American nor Indian, he is God. So if he likes, that is good, but if he does not like, then it's not good. So,
Babaji, what about meat?
hmm?
Do gods like meat?
No.
What is the meaning of all the animal sacrifice during Ashwamedha?
It's not recommended. It's a later interpolation by people. the story in Mahabharata, King Uparicha, because there is a mention of offering aja into the fire. And aja means grains, fried grains, because they don't sprout, therefore they are called aja. And aja also means goat.
Why is it goat aja?
There is a dhatu ajgatau,
Okay.
which keeps on walking all the time. You have seen,
Yeah.
you leave the goat,
Charity.
it's always moving. So, aja and vraja, they mean both same. So, ajati, which moves. Ajati iti aja. So, therefore, goat is called aja. And these grains are called aja because they don't sprout. So, there was a discussion. If you study Purmimansa, maybe after Tark Sangra you should have class on Purmimansa.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting subject. Then you will know how the Shastra is interpreted. So there was a very big discussion on this. What does the word aja actually mean? So then some say it means goat, and those who are interested in meat, and the others they say it means grains. So they asked this king, Uparicha, to mediate, and he said goat. So then it started like that. So in any case, Vishnu does not like Krishna. They are sattvic. Even if there are other devas to whom we can make bali, we cannot make animal sacrifice for Lord Vishnu.
Babaji, just at the moment, I'm reading the description of Ashwamedha sacrifice in Ramayana, and 300 animals in addition to the horse, and also the altar is made in the form of Garuda, which is the carrier of Vishnu. So how it all connects together?
Yeah, so therefore you have to follow Bhagavatam. This is the book of Vaishnavas. As I said, that animal sacrifice was there in India, but Bhagavatam says that Pashor alahanam natu himsa. That it is not that you kill the animal, you touch it. Because there are two dhatus. Alabhanam, the word used is alabhanam. And alabhanam means to kill, and alabhanam also means to touch. So it is only touched. So I remember in our childhood, when we were living in the village, this Deepavali is also one of the day for sacrifice. So my grandfather used to do this sacrifice of hen, but the hen was not killed. He used to get the hen, and then there is ghee lamp, and the hen is there, and he holds the hen, and he go around like this, and all the family stands in front, and he was doing like an arti type of thing, and then you touch it, and then you go and then you release it. There is a village deity. So you go and release the hen there in front of the deity. So it was just like that. There was no killing. And then actually the hen goes back to the person who owns it, and then he sells it again to another one. So he makes good money. Then similarly, Gurgaon, this Gurgaon, which is famous now. Gurgaon, actually one of the reasons why it is called Gurgaon, its original name is Gaurgram. Gaon is a, upbranch of the word Gram. Gram means village. So it actually the word comes from Gaurgram. So it seems Lord Chaitanya stayed there. When he came to Vrindavan, he also went to Kurukshetra. And he went this way, and that is the place he stayed. So therefore that place became known as Gaurgram. and Gurgaon became Gurgaon. But there is a very famous temple of Devi there. And I remember going, I have a very vague remembrance. I think I was very small in childhood, again with my grandfather, and there also the custom was of offering goat to the Devi. But there was no killing. So there are people standing outside, you buy the goat, and you go, the priest is there and he chants the mantra, and the goat is cleaned and decorated and put garland, you take in front of the deity, then you touch it, and you release it. But if you go to Assam,
Or Kalighat.
I have not been to Kalighat, but I went to Assam, this famous temple of Devi there. What is the place called?
Kamarupa.
Kamarupa. So there is a very famous temple of Devi. Actually Devi's yoni is supposed to be there. Because when Parvati died, then Lord Shiva, according to Bhagavatam, she burnt her body by producing fire from her own body when she was angry at her father Daksha. But according to other Puranas, maybe this is different Kalpa story, she just left her body. And then Lord Shiva took her body and he became very upset because he is very much in love with his wife. So he took the body and then he was dancing with it. He was doing his Dandavamrita. And then the various parts of his body fell down in different parts of India. So those places became famous temple of Devi. So that's why there is a Vaishno Devi in Jammu, very famous temple. And this in Assam, this in Gurgaon, which I was saying is also famous. One is in Delhi, Kalkaji. I don't know if you have heard of a place called Kalkaji. The word Kalka actually means the name of Devi, and there is a very famous temple of Devi there in Delhi.
So Devi is always Parvati or not necessarily?
What?
Devi means Parvati or not necessarily?
Yeah, the word Devi although means goddess, but usually it is used for Parvati.
Okay.
So at that place, they actually cut the goat. I saw it with my own eyes first time in my life. I was shocked. I saw the goat. There is a pond. They gave bath to the goat in the pond, and they put a garland and a tilak, and they took there and chopped the head off.
Oh.
It was horrible. In my life, I never saw anything like this. So anyway, she is Jagan Mata. As you said, how can she eat her own children? Mother is not eating the babies. So that is at least not the Bhagavatam view. Bhagavatam is very clear. In 11th Canto it is said that it is only touching ahimsa. So then this Vibhushan, then Gandha, then Pushpa, Dhupa is the incense, and it has to be natural incense, not with the chemicals. So actually agarbatti comes from the word aguru. Aguru is that natural substance which comes from the tree, and from that the word agarbatti has become. Bhakti simply means a wick, stick. And then Deepa is lamp, and then some upahara, some food has to be given. So you perform the puja first, then you offer food. And this is the complete Sodasopshar puja, which is recommended here. And this is for Lord Vishnu. So there is no commentary. It says Puja Mantra Maha Om Namo Iti. This is the Puja Mantra. And then Havishesham tu juhyad anale dvadasha hutihi. Om namo bhagavate mahapurushaya mahavibhuti patiye swaha iti. So whatever the havi is remaining, then using that you have to make a yajna in fire and make 12 offerings. And again the mantra is basically similar, which was there. Om namo bhagavate mahapurushaya mahanubhavaya mahavibhuti patiye. And then here you add swaha. So this is how the offering is made into the fire. And then Lakshmi ji is also worshipped. Shriyam Vishnum cha Varada Vishisham Prabhava Ubhau Bhaktya Sampuje Nityam Yadi Chet Sarva Sampadaha. So if one wants some dollars, euros, then one should worship Lakshmi along with Vishnu, because Lakshmi is the goddess of wealth. But she should be worshipped with Vishnu. Otherwise one becomes bewildered if one worships only Lakshmi. Because Lakshmi along with Vishnu rides on Garuda, and if she is alone, then she rides on an owl. You cannot see in the daytime. He is active only at night. So if you have only money and not devoted to Vishnu, then you only have nightlife. Right? That's what it signifies. Because Lakshmi is riding on an owl if she is without Vishnu. So that is Asuric. That's what the Asuras want. Materialistic people, they want Lakshmi without Vishnu. And spiritualists, they want Lakshmi along with Narayana. And this is the difference. So therefore it says Shriyam Vishnum cha Vardavashisham Prabhava Bhavu, that you should worship Shri along with Vishnu. So Shri means Lakshmi. And they are the source of Ashish. Prabhava Bhavu, both of them. Varadavu Ashisham. So if you want blessing, then they are able to give that blessing. So this is a type of what you say belief, philosophy or understanding. I don't know if it is there in the other countries, but in India, originally people believed that if you want money, you worship God. Now if you want money, you do business. So they thought that even if you do business, you have to worship the Lord, and the money will come. Without blessing of the Lord, you cannot have it. So this was understanding. Therefore it says, Varadav Ashisham, that they are giver of the vara, the boons, the blessings, Prabhava, capable of both of them. And Bhaktya Sampujayat Nityam. And this has to be done regularly, every day. So that means he is not prescribing the Smart Vidhi. Although Punswan, he said Avahan Visarjan, but if you want opulence, Sampad. Sampad can mean wealth, Sampad can mean anything. Sampad means good situation. Vipad means problematic situation. So Sampad can also mean bhakti or knowledge. Then you have to regularly worship him. So there is no commentary and this verse is not right anything. Then pranamed dandavad bhumo bhakti pravena chetasa dasvaram japen mantram tatah stotram udirayet. So then after doing this puja and offering, when the worship is over, then one should fall flat on the ground like a stick, Ashtanga Pranam. Bhumo. And Bhumo means earth, but if you are on the third floor, then it's not Bhumi. You have to do it on the roof. And Bhakti Pravena Chetsa. But your heart, obeisance is not just with the body, but with the mind. Your heart, your mind should be full of devotion. It should be humble, Pravena. So, Namra, Vinamra, bowing down. And you have to chant the mantra, Dasvaram Japen Mantram, Tata Stotram. So mantra has to be chanted minimum 10 times. If you don't chant the mantra minimum 10 times, then it is not effective. So this is the minimum limit. Maximum you can do any round, 16 rounds, 64 rounds, whatever. But 10 times is compulsory. After one gets Diksha, then the Diksha mantra should be chanted at least 10 times. And it has to be done properly. So in Hari Bhakti Vilas also it is mentioned. Here of course it is specifically mentioned for this mantra, but in Hari Bhakti Vilas it is mentioned for any mantra after Diksha, and it should be chanted minimum 10 times. So this way you remain linked up. That's what it says, Dasvaram, Japet mantra, and then Japet, Jap is of 3 types. The word Jap is either is a Vach, Mansik.
I have a question about the mantra, because we have of course Diksha, and there's in the first chapter of Hari Bhakti Vilas it says that the Gopala mantra, that it doesn't require initiation, and that it has its own Shakti. And yet you have the idea that there is a living mantra and a not living mantra and so on. And then you have in the 17th chapter of Hari Bhakti Vilas, you have Puruscharan Vidhi. So in Puruscharan Vidhi, the idea is that ordinarily Puruscharan Vidhi is that you, by doing the Puruscharan, then you become Siddha in the mantra, and the mantra is always alive for you, no matter whether you chant or don't chant. Whenever you chant, it's alive. So in terms of our sampradaya and Vishnu mantras or Krishna mantras, what is the relationship of the vidhi to the inherent power of the mantra itself? Because there's like in the first chapter it also talks about Shodhanam, Shoshanam, and all these different things that you do with the mantra.
There are various types of mantras. If you read the tantras or even Hari Bhakti Vilas, so there are mantras of various types. Some mantras, they are supta, they are sleeping. Some mantras half sleeping. Some mantras are murchit, they are unconscious. Some mantras are alive. So you have to wake up the mantra. For that this Purusharana is done. But the Vaishnava mantras like what we are doing here, this Om Namo Bhagavate, Mahapurushaya, Mahavibhutipate, these types of mantras, they are not unconscious or sleeping or anything, they are alive. They are Jagrita. But the point which is there, whether they are available to you or not. So basically Purusharana, when it is done for these types of mantras, to purify yourself. The mantra is having its power inherent in it all the time. But that power power may not manifest for everybody. So it is for that reason that it is done. The purpose is different in both, in our mantra and in this mantra. So that's why Sanatana Goswami describes that in Hari Bhakti Vilas. So this japa is of three types. So they were saying mansik japa, vachik, upanshu. So mansik is considered as the best, chanting in the mantra and keeping your mind fixed on the mantra only. And when you do that, then chanting 10 times is also not easy. But sometimes people think, yeah, but that's only 10 times, that's all. But actually if you do it properly, even 10 times is not as simple as it appears. So they have given 10 times so that if at least this much you can do. If they say chant 16 rounds, then it is quite sure that you will not be able to do it properly. And then not following the injunction becomes also a disturbance for the sadhaka. So for that reason injunction has been given in such a way that one can execute it and thus does not incur the obstruction caused by not following the injunction of the Shastra. That is the reason for giving it 10 times. So which mantra is to be chanted? The one which was given in sloka number 7. That is the one which has to be chanted. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahapurushaya Mahamudantipate. This one. Yuvam tu vishwasya vibhu jagatah karanam param iyam hi prakriti sukshma maya shaktir duratyaya. So this is more like a stotra, because after chanting the mantra then some stotra is also this process recited, which is called vigyapti. So you do the puja, then offering, and then the yajna, and then you do recitation of certain prayers. So he also said this in the previous verse, stotram udirayet, that you recite the stotra. These two words use stotra and stava. So Bhagavatam Swami actually makes a distinction, although the both words come from the same root, stuya dhatu. But one is stotra, which is applying the pratyaya in karana, and one is stava, where pratyaya is applied in bhava. So in stava, the bhava is important. Stotra is done recitation. And I think Jiva Goswami also writes in his commentary that stotra is something which is composed by someone else and stava is that which you compose yourself. He writes this in the commentary. This is the distinction. Which also makes sense because stava is with bhava. So if you compose, then some bhava has to be there. In stotra you may not have that bhava, but you repeat it. So that is also good, that after puja everything is done, then you sit down and you recite at least few slokas in front of the Lord. So then worship is complete. So these are the stotra mantras. Say yuvam tu vishwasya vibhu jagatah karanam param iyam hi prakriti sukshma maya shaktir duratyaya. It says you are the supreme cause of this Vishwa, this Jagat, the universe. You are Vibhu. Vibhu means all-pervading or all-powerful. And Iyam hi Prakriti Sukshma Maya Shakti, and then referring to Lakshmi, she is the Prakriti, the subtle, and Maya Shakti Duratya. She is Maya Shakti and she is Duratya, difficult to understand, difficult to transcend. So the word Vibhu here refers to both of them because it is in dual case. Vibhu, of course, one is female, other is male. So Vibhu and Vibhvi. Sometimes people call among the Vaishnavas each other as Prabhu, and they also call women as Prabhu. So that is grammatically wrong. Women will be Prabhvi, not Prabhu. Ip is applied to make feminine Prabhu. So Prabhu and Prabhavi, so Vibhu and Vibhavi. But then the samas is made, and this is called Ekshesha Samasa. So one of them is dropped. And which one is to be dropped? So female comes first and then male comes. It's like we have Radha Krishna, Sita Ram. So Vibhavi comes first and then Vibhu, and then Vibhu gets dropped. Mata Pitarau, mother, father. So it becomes Vibhu, the dual case. So therefore Vibhu is not dual of the word Vibhu, but actually it is dual of the Vibhu, Vibhi, Vibhu, Samas. So referring to both. Excess Samas. So he says, you are the Jagataha Param Karanam, you are the supreme cause. Means there is no other cause beyond the Lord. There are various causes in this universe, but they are not the supreme cause. Supreme cause is the Lord. That's where the buck stops. So that's why Brahma Samhita says, Ishvara Parma Krishna, Sachidananda Vigraha, Anadi Radhi Govinda, Sarva Karana Karana, the cause of all causes. So if you actually study the cause and effect relationship, that's what the science is all about. But they don't want to go beyond a certain limit, otherwise they will actually end up with Krishna. They really don't restrict themselves and remain open-minded. Then they will reach at the door of Krishna. So they stop only at the Big Bang. They don't ask the question, who did the Big Bang? So he is called here as Paramakara, supreme cause. And then Iyam Lakshmi, this is Lakshmi. So Iyam is like somebody very close to you. Prakriti, so Prakriti means nature. Prakriti also refers to anything which is feminine in gender. Any object which is feminine in gender is also Prakriti. They are all expansion of Prakriti anyway. So originally everything is female. See, in this material world, originally everything is female, male is secondary. Therefore when children, babies are born, they are primarily female. The maleness develops later on. And in the end also males start becoming like female in the old age. Right? So this maleness is only a temporary feature which people are so proud about.
Even men's hormones, as they age, they get more estrogen.
Yes.
Physiologically, we become more feminine.
Because everything comes from Prakriti. Right? The body is, we are of course talking about the body, the soul is not male or female. But everything is coming from Prakriti. Prakriti means feminine. So therefore he says that this is all Prakriti. Iyam hi Prakriti. Right? And Sukshma, Prakriti is subtle, and from subtle the gross things are coming. At the gross level, you may have this duality. At the bottom level, there is only Prakriti. Maya Shakti Durute. So that's why in India there is Devi worship, very prominent, Shakti worship. Because everything is coming from Maya Shakti. Everything is a manifestation of that. So, in the next verse he says, Tasyadhishwarah sakshat tvamev purushah para tvam sarvyagya ijyayam kriyayam phalbhuk bhavan. And because in the stotra is recited directly, it's like the Lord is standing in front of you and you are speaking to him. That's why the stotras are saying this, and if he is speaking to the Lord, he says you, and you are the Adhishwara. You are the supreme master of Prakriti, because energy is not independent. Energy is always in Dravya, according to Nyaya also. So that Dravya Padartha, that is Bhagavan. So he said Adhishwara, you are the Adhishwara of that Prakriti. Sakshat Tvameva Purushapara. You are the supreme person, supreme male. But it is Paraha, means not material but transcendental. And Tvam Sarvyagya, you are the personification of all Yagya. So Yagya, why Vishnu, the